This. Got some storage to sort out. All right. Stay out of my basement. Rude. All right. And I'm going to do crossbows. Not back. So, um, redstone. Cobblestone. And we make a couple of dispensers. All right. Bones. Anyways, my misadventures continue. The sad thing is, we don't even have anything left to use the soul beads on. At least back in the day, you could turn them in for certain bounties. They don't even craft for anything. If I do this, does it? Huh. Wonder what soul bead does. It's got a right-click interaction. At least feels like it does. Yeah. So that implies maybe there's something I could do with it. Okay, so it's not for right-clicking on dogs. Not for right-clicking on chickens. Not for pigs. Okay, I've gotten distracted. It's fine. It's fine, right? What? In the, like, Is there supposed to be leaves on that? Ah, yes, the missing texture flower. Doesn't work on those chickens. Shapes. Hmm. Alright. I have no clue when the world soul beads would get used for. So clearly I'm going to keep them, right? Because that's what you should always do with things that apparently have no use and you uh, I'll figure out what I do with those ones later. Um, what in the world have I done with... Like, it's not voided. Not in there. Okay. Okay. Book cabinet. Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why you also need the air gap. Okay, that worked. It did let me do it with the actual tool. Something, something, the period there is kind of passive-aggressive. I did not actually intend to put a period there. That just kind of happened. Honk. Anyways, I've got about 30 minutes before my phone's alarm goes off to make sure I'm awake. I should go and grab that. In fact, it's still 80 plus in the house. 5 in the morning. I've tried as much as I can to solve that, but like, if you're currently listening to my stream, step 1, can we get a limited 2 there? Because your voice chat icons are visible. And the server does not actually have a voice chat protocol active. So you are seeing the voice chat icons. I need to remember which, some button or another I moved my voice chat to, and I need to remember which one it is. Whatever your voice chat icon, voice chat status visibility or whatever it is set to. Mine is a non-standard one, so I can't necessarily help with exactly which keybind it is. But if you manage to pull up your voice chat, you might be able to make it go away anyways. But you might not be able to pull up the voice chat quite so much on this. But, yeah. Cool. Because that lets me do apple crates. Yay. Yeah, and we need to throw just some more of the plant stuff up here. Don't know if we want to go and get the native Minecraft Crimson and Warped and start growing them in pots yet. I don't think we need them quite yet. Anyways, I got distracted. I was going to go and grab some of my spacer blocks. That's not where the spacer blocks are. It's over down here. I did get 1 knowledge, so I can now craft the upgrades. I still can't place the barrels, but I can craft any of the upgrades if I think we need to do something with the upgrades. I can make those. Or I could do things like, hey, make this so it can start compressing the 3s as well. Or make this into a copper chest. But that's not my immediate goal, because that's a separate thing from the main storage at the moment. and is mainly just quality of life for your delooting at the moment, as opposed to like long-term storage. But my thought process is, since we've already got growables here, we want other growables here. So things like spore blossoms would end up on this wall, and uh, things like that. Probably we want like bamboo, which has a compressible block in this mod pack. Uh, like here is a 2, or things like that. I'd like just finish out this row and then put up another array of like 6. Noting that I think an array of like one more array of 6x5 should cover pretty much everything. Even including the ability to add a couple of extra variants. Because, let's see. At the end of last season, let's see if I can scroll over to my plants. On my my own last base tour. Right, we don't have a planks array. Do you want all your wood type planks also on this, or are we going to do the wood types as like their own, all the different things you can make out of the wood besides just the woods and logs? Because you don't throw the planks at the at the altar, but you do have to throw the logs at it. So like this is mainly making sure anything that might go to an altar is at least in this array, and whether or not we decide to include the planks on this or this wall versus like doing here's oak, planks, slabs, stairs, anything you might accidentally find in the vault too, or things like that. But they're not something we immediately throw at the altar, so we're not necessarily producing them in bulk. But let's see. Those 5 farmables, moss, cactus, kelp need added. Coarse fruit, lily pads. Yeah, so I've got a couple. Things that had 2 were like, yeah, it's mostly 1s. But like, there were a few 2s. But it's like, the 2 nether vines, it's easy enough to have on the same one. The 2 berry types, since they've got the sacks, are limited 2s. So we've got bamboo. Let's see. Yeah, so if we want to throw just some like 2s up here to fill this out, because we can get bamboo, the close enough. Yeah, like whichever ones work. Like, there's lots of twos, lots of ones, but aesthetically, it might be good to have just the stack of twos of different. Uh, my tip for that topmost one is make sure like you are backed up as best you can and then catch the very edge, because it's slightly annoying. But the wrench also will work as the stick it in the offhand as you place them lock as well, if you need to. That is one of the things Pepperfly left in. Glowberries, sweet berries, bamboo. Okay, and the other twos aren't compressibles, but they are things like the two mushroom types. So it's also a matter of like, what do you actually have right now for throwing into it? We've got some glowberries. Don't have sweet berries that I see immediately right there. But I've got some of those at my base. They're there. Two mushroom types. I swear we've got bamboo someplace. Worst case scenario. Okay, you don't have bamboo, so I should grab some of mine, and we can work from there. Something. I made over 3 stacks of scaffolding, so I might have made a large amount of bamboo. Also, the fun one is the bamboo grown in the overworld is a way you can fully automate the leaves for altar leaves if you want to. Since, like, you can automate the trees, but not the leaves for anything else. And yeah, I will check my mailbox when I wander over there next. Let's double check which of these are deconstructible into bamboo. Block of bamboo from thermal. Bundle of bamboo only does 3. And okay, so we want thermals, not buildscapes for storage, which I can't make directly, so quartz bamboo block, which isn't the best looking, but it is decompressible. Which makes it a compressible version. Then sweet berry sacks, which you even can get in the vault, so like, that's even better. I love how the glowberry sack counts as a light block for the emissive in-hand light. Brown mushrooms, red mushrooms. Did we get the nether vines from you yet? Or for you yet? The vanilla ones, the crimson and twisted? Or is that something we get to go adventuring for again? And I get to leave my body in the nether once or twice. Looks like possibly. Okay. So that probably is that other two. Do we want to set it up so that you can do all four of the too tall flowers? You know, just stick them with a 4-barrel for the aesthetic. Because that might be a good like first one to put down on the other wall. Is that's the too tall flowers, which you can put them in whichever ones of those, since it's not being used as a compression block. Then we need coarse flower, coarse fruit is a 2. Yeah, and then like I'm trying to look and go like, did I have any others as 2s? And I think no, I think almost everything else was 1s. So if we want to just make a wall of 1s here for almost everything else in the plant category. And then we can throw things up there as we need to. Noting that that like includes like the roots from rooted dirt and bonk. Yeah, we will need more 1s eventually, but that gives you like any of those single plants, including like one of the first things we'll want is like what if you started growing at least some downstairs. Let's make sure that we grab anything that's downstairs and make sure that it's got an upstairs component. Especially because we are currently full of cocoa beans. And now we're not. We're going to get more of the poppies from running an iron farm later too. Alright. I can come back to that. Anyway, sometimes they look a little bit ugly for how they go on the drawers. That's spore blossoms. So lovely, right? Looks completely blank. Poppies gives you your single flower type. Uh, okay. Yeah, and cactus is a single. The netherwort actually goes. I just got lazy and stuck the netherwort with the netherwort block from the netherwort trees eventually. Because if we look, like I still have some wish list for some of the compression, decompression things that were in drawers to come to this, and then a couple more as well. Uh, so some of my choices of what blocks got compressible 4 arrays was influenced by that, especially because at least one or two of them definitely need it, because otherwise some of the factory drops are just annoying, not actually helpful. Something, something compressed snow. Something, something compressed clay. But yeah, there are other things, but like they don't have a specific compression from those. And that lets us potentially just like go, okay, what's the botany pot arrays going to be? And arguably that actually means we can take out the spacers if we want between these two. Yeah, that's a reasonable way of doing it. And then once we get the interface, which is another research, we would just pick two of these back here. I think we have to pick two of them back here and stick a one of the little interface things on them. But I mean, right now, uh, if they don't get rid of the interface recipe, there's the vanilla recipe, which is like some type of plank, some kind of stone, redstone repeater, and ender pearl makes the storage link. So like that shouldn't be expensive. And later on, like worst case scenario, we use the modded one once they start showing up in the mod boxes, because at that point we will end up with more interface cores than we necessarily need eventually. And that's if we don't want to have like 30 lines of force whenever you're holding the wrench per array. One, two, let's see. That one's technically one closer together than because they're 5 apart before you add the drawers. But I don't know if that actually is going to fit the room for a nice division, because I didn't do the math on that yet. So technically I might have had us already putting down the next plant array in a semi-annoying fashion. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Would be right there at the torch. Which 3 away from the wall, which makes the actual barrel 2 away from the wall. So technically the back wall is a little closer to the barrels than the other one, but that's fine. Because all of it is based on whether or not it's in range of the core, and any place within the outer bounds of the outer wall is fine. And if we ever really wanted to, there's nothing saying we can't push the wall one. Yeah. And that's entirely if you don't want to just kind of go, oh, yes, yes. Nobody likes going to the back of the storage anyways. And that also runs under the entire assumption that we try and build out the arrays all the way back, as opposed to, like, going sideways with the arrays, because the side to side with the spacing here of 5 between, so that's the same wall spacing on both end caps. So makes the room symmetrical, even if the door doesn't come in directly on one of the aisles. So if we just did it like, we start building shelves towards the back as we go, but we don't need all of them towards the back until we need all of them towards the back. Especially because we have a second floor too. Something. I may do my signature color wall on your second floor. But the amount of fiddliness that requires means I will be, like, placing the whole thing down. Because that's like dyeing 7 different things all red, and then like having an array of all 16 colors and then coloring all the drawers the 16 colors for like 7+ things, not to mention going, what color is closest to the color of the pastels or whatnot, is its own array. Okay, we'll keep that in mind if we need to grab some bamboo that's already grown. Thanks for that. But one of the other arrays we need is hostile mob drops and passive mob drops. You know, well, besides wool, because wool gets Wool gets the color category. Mutton gets to end up on this wall, but wool ends up on the mob drops. Or on the color wall, not the mob drops. Ooh, wooden planks. Branding. Right. As an FYI, you've got some decorative crates here. And there's a couple different places in the vault we get decorative crates from. I'm trying to... One sec. I'm going to check something. Well, besides the emissive light. Okay. So you can also put light sources in the middle of this to make the barrels out there light up too. So however you want to arrange your lights potentially might be sticking ones inside between everything. Technically, you have to crouch to get in, but it does give you access, at least. Something. We need to pick which ones of these are going to have stairs. That might be a bit more than we need in here, but... So might want them a little more arrayed, like either one center or like two somewhere at a specific like middle of the array, because it does kind of glow through. So maybe like second and fifth. And that also then like puts it center on those mostly. And that's if we do the lights in there as opposed to any place else. Something sticks bar lights down on everything because Miss Crafty needs the lights as bright as possible so that she can see things. Oh, but those bar lights are so expensive. They require glowstone dust. Where are we going to get glowstone dust? Yeah, so like... I think it runs into one problem with the drawers. And potentially it will get annoying. And that is the drawers do not count as a solid block to influence which direction the light bars, the ones that I use for like the teleporters and things like that, place on. So you just end up, in this case, if you set down any of the light bars, they will end up as the full circle. Because these aren't solid blocks, and otherwise you have to like rip out the things, put down a solid block, then put them back in. That or you do like circle light. Or we do some of the actual like block ones that are the other ones. What are those other lights? Not the meteor lights, because meteor lights are up and down. Ah, yes, Builder's Delight. But not the edge light, but like... I mean, there's a simple bulbs, of course. Illuminate fixture. We can sort that out later, and that's aesthetics, which I trust you to be able to do aesthetics without me. I'm just the categories guy. Torch. Noting that we have not yet even scratched the surface of, hey, you might want to put your vault stuff in here someplace too. Eventually. Right now I'm trying to just cram the altar stuff roughly in one location to start, because that also means, like, worst case scenario, even if you don't have the altar automation or want to get into your RS to do it, it's like wanders an altar up here, drops it here, that wall, this wall, that wall, that wall, that wall, and that wall, and that wall are going to be 100% of anything you might throw at this stupid thing is. Of course, given the fact that you've already got RS unlocked, that potentially is not going to be a problem long term. I have gotten distracted again, and by distracted again, I mean we are not currently making more categories. What good is not making more categories? But, like, okay, I think the thing we need to note is, let's see, which of the hostile mobs had, like, some kind of compressible thing? Witches have so much compressible stuff, but I don't think glowstone had a decompressible in sophisticated storage. I think it did in drawers, but that's up to whether or not Josh managed to get some of the drawer recipes added in the patch. Of course, do we also want to put, like, all 12 record discs in, like, three limited fours on one side of the hostile, so that we can stick a record farm someplace around here? So that's, like, that's already marked out. That's discs. Let's go get... You had, what, 13 over here in one of your barrels? Or one of your boxes? I swear there's a CD over here someplace. Yes. We are going to grab 13 and we're going to stick it in to mark that That's what that is. Of course, gunpowder does have its compressible form. So gunpowder is a limited 2. Uh, do we want to stick gas tiers above it as a 1? No, we could also put like witch drops around it too. Like we're out of 1s at the moment, right? Last I'd seen. Yeah. Something that's going to be like the chant all season is we don't have enough of the 1s made. Let's see. Pearls have the modded compression. Gunpowder has the modded compression. Bone meal, which actually comes from the passive of the fish, not from the hostile mobs, can be compressed into the bone block, of course. Um, Flesh has a modded compressible. Slime has slime blocks. I think we're going to put redstone with minerals. Two more of the compression upgrades. Yeah, the compression upgrades right now are still extremely expensive to make, which is why almost all of my designs, because of the fact that you can add the compression later, which like on these, uh, when I actually built all of them for like once I had Cagerium down, I made them iron tier, and through and that meant that they got a stack upgrade and a void upgrade, but they couldn't compress yet because I would have to push them to gold, and never got around to doing that because blue. But like, I'm trying to think. So, do we want to put redstone here? Noting that actually redstone, because we've got the extra density block, you can do redstone all the way to a ×1 or a ×2 block of redstone. Okay. I don't think anything compresses using a 3 barrel in the hostile mobs. And noting that, like, if you want to do the compression, you can't even mix and match it with other things. So, like, you can't stick regular bones next to bone meal and bone block if you want to have the bone meal actually compressing to the bone block and vice versa. We do have 2 types of bones, and whether or not you want to actually make them into the bone blocks is another thing. But yeah, bones. There are the withered and the standard bones, though I don't think withered bones ends up in the altar at any point. I didn't. I don't think they added a to the Vault alter all. Nope. They never managed to add it to it. It'll get generated once we start making skulls, but that means just like the withered bone and the withered skull could have the same drawer. But then it's like, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. It just means you're probably voiding the withered bones a lot sooner, because the skulls will just take so long to cap out. So, of course, I keep saying this, but like, if we don't put the things in there, how are we going to remember which ones they are and go like, how many twos was that? Let's come steal the hostile mob drops from your stuff over here too. Noting that we could either put the shulker shells with the hostile mob drops, or we leave them in the most sensible place, which is, hey, look, it's a primary vault loop. String. Do we count cobwebs in the farmables, or do we count them because of it being attached string to vines, or do we count it as quote unquote mob drop just because it's supposed to be with the like spider spawner stuff? Okay, that sounds about right. Something, something. Some people might be annoyed with what I'm about to say for mob categories, but stick is a mob drop. Because of witches. Which technically means that sticks can be a 2, because you can make stick stacks, and stick stack patty whack weight. You can get them in the vault as the stick stacks. Let's see. Spider eyes are a single, but rotten flesh, which notably you can actually get the rotten flesh blocks from the vault as well. And we want the pork gunpowder sack, because the thermal is the block, and the sacks are sometimes in the vault, and for ease of delooting. Today in weird compressibles. And technically, like, we can swap any of the 2s around if you're like, why do you have ender pearls next to gunpowder or whatever? Because it is easy enough to like tape them up or even like just pull them out, clear the memory, and move them to the other one. Because if you hit them from the side, you actually get the GUI. So you can do things like that. Sticks is compressibles. And I've already said it's technically a witch drop. Arguably so are spider eyes, but spider eyes are also primarily a spider drop. I think most of the other hostile things I have in my hands right now are drawer ones. I'm unfortunately incapable of crafting the drawer ones right now. Like if you had an RS, I could have just set up the recipe, and then you just have to go and click, but I do have the capability of doing the upgrades at least. No title change, so yeah. Uh, so charcoal ends up with the minerals, even though it's a mob or coal. I can't remember. I think I made a drawer selection for obsidian and crying obsidian over here, and I'll get that at some point. Yeah, I think all of that is queued up to go at some point, and I should figure that out. But we are going to stick those hostile mob drops over here. And this, then we're going to lock them right here, so we can deal with them later. Illegal crates, because you can't unpack them. Yeah, I mean, they're not bad for decoration if we wanted to put loose crates someplace around for the decorative ones. Some of the quark non decompressible or whatever's the permanent crates. Permanent crates. nether quartz, we do want to give a, when we do the minerals, it's going to also get a compressible because of the factory and the fact it does actually have the full reversible crafting recipe already. What? 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 In case you need more and actually want to have the full height. Like, I just picked up, like, all of them at the beginning of this, so. And technically, we can arrange the second floor completely differently from this one. This one just was relatively convenient to do the 5x6 for the starting categories. But if we start putting things upstairs, noting that one of the things that like might happen late game is just kind of like make as many loose barrels or whatever for any of the loose vault blocks or other things like that that just don't get voided and end up as like more than about a stack of something, so that you can constantly keep the drives relatively empty. Or we can just figure out how many 64K drives we can stick in a computer at once. Okay. I mean, we've got more than enough signs if I ever have to throw signs up for the things. Let's see, gunpowder. Sponges and dry sponges, but that potentially requires a drying machine at some point. Important question for like the long term of the mob stuff, because it asked for the. I don't think it actually requires it to be the dry sponges. Yeah, I think I think they made it so it will work with either wet sponge or dry sponge. No, it does ask for them as dry. Am I? Are we going to have me stick a redstone, uh, the redstone cooker machine to just automatically dry the sponges inside the wall? So you just have like one set of drawers that hums occasionally. Okay, so that's one of the other twos. Sugar never gets thrown at the altar, but it does come from the witch drops. And has the sugar cube from the modded. If we want to do that as one of them. But yeah, I think we just need mostly. Well, let's also do a check. Arrows, bones, saddles, blaze rod, string, eyes, crystal shards, nether stars, dry sponges, totems, skulls. I think we can get all of the hostiles just on the one 6x5. At least for anything that the altar is going to ask us for. I say as though I can't come over here and do the most sensible thing ever, and that is press the $sign and do Alt-R and scroll over and go, okay, how many hostile drops we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, because we're doing the 2x2s. 22, 23, 19, 22, 23. And these need like 24. Yeah, so in theory, the hostile mob drops is only 4 blocks tall. But of course, like that doesn't count like withered bones, uh, empty bottles. Um, the stick stack I added. Like technically the altar asked for the sticks, but that's basically entirely only early and not late. But yeah, we should be able to get everything else onto the wall just with this for the hostile mob drops. Things like speeder, spider, speeder, spider. Skelly, Skelly. If we stick strays, we'll end up with like the slowness arrow. We can put the withered bone there, which I think I have a withered bone because it turns out the sculk forest can spawn them, and one of them decided to be a jerk to me and smack me, and I was like, what was that? And it's like, why are you even here? And it's like, our good friend Copwood. It's spider related. gas tiers. Bottle. Six, you say? Nah, this is all the resources. I need to steal it from my own stuff. I'm gonna go make myself one of the storage wands. One of this, one of this, one of this, and 3 of this. Because we can go like this, and then it's do offhand. Flesh can be down here. Yeah, don't overdo it. You're doing fine. And again, like this is also like setting up for like these aren't going to do anything till 90 levels of work. So this amount of storage setup is overkill for level 24, to say nothing of level 0. Let's figure out what other hostile mob drops I've got around. Phantom membranes, those get asked for at some point. I should know, I got soft locked on them for a little while. And by a little while, I mean, I had to wait the full hour because I got it like immediately after a sleep, and it was like Saddles. All right. And I probably will call it a little earlier than actual restart today, so I can go hang out at a water park with the kid, because I tossed that idea out there because today's heat index is 98 to 102, which 102, add 40 to it, 142, divide that by 9. What's 142 divided by 9? Well, you see, it's math. 16, then you just multiply that by 5, and you end up with about... Am I doing that right? So, round about 40C, a little bit less. So, 39C. So, like... That's going to be a whole thing. That's a hostile mob drop. That's a hostile mob drop. Pocket went boop boop. Latest thought is ready. Okay. Totems are a hostile mob drop. Glowstone and glowstone dust. Though we don't have the uncrafting recipe, I don't think, last I had checked. Coal is a hostile mob drop that ends up in the minerals category. Magma cream is one of the hostile mob drops, but it doesn't have an uncrafting recipe, didn't have an uncrafting recipe in the old drawers either, so if I were to set that on there, that would be me wish listing it, not actually, like, expecting it. Why do I have only the prismarite crystals but not the shards? Probably... Right. Probably, shipwreck? Or no. Berry trigger. Yeah. I don't directly have a thermometer in my room, so my room might have managed to dip into the 70s overnight. Uh, but I make no guarantees of that. At like 4 in the morning, the living room was still 82, but it was slightly warmer, so. And I managed to open my windows, and outside was cooler than everything else. So I managed to use some fans to get some cooler air at least into the room. Noting that, like, sugar. Uh, something. I'm currently doing the Insomniac's Gambit as well, so that's why I keep pausing. Insomniac's Gambit, when you can't manage to sleep, and then rather than, like, continue to, like, lay in bed, which Mythbusters has already proved on the crab episode, you are better off laying down even if you don't manage to get sleep. But doing the just stay up and then hope you get, like, more sleep tomorrow. Apparently it had been raining. I had not heard the rain going. Anyways, totems can go here. I need to go stab a fish at some point. Maybe. Let's see, they set up in that ocean monument. Ooh. Fine. I think the next most successful ocean monument to go and stab like a fish or two is this one. Um, Wish I had my pickering right now. I'll get one eventually. But I like them for the ocean monuments because um, mining fatigue has nothing on a pickering's ability to break blocks. So you just kind of can throw the pickering even if the Elder Guardians manage to ping you. And then you go in there and you just kind of like waylay their face and then rip your way back out the side. That's the strangest looking boat I've ever seen. Why is it so pointy? Ooh, kelp. Mob spawning can be greater than 32 blocks, but most mob movement is relatively limited to about 32 blocks. And otherwise they run on limited dummy, just kind of exist. If they're greater than 2 chunks away. Not that I necessarily think this is going to reveal a closer monument this way, but it's always good to rip a bit of new detection whenever doing the swimming through the ocean. Starting to get in range of the monument. Probably not going to get sponges while I'm here. No matter how tempting it would be. Wrong one. I thought that was the piercing one. The piercing one is apparently here. Because piercing is trapped as well in the dive, 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 dive. Where did that one go? Is this it? We got a shard out of it. Alright. That's what I needed from it anyways. Was like a single shard. Ooh, pufferfish. Alright. Oh no, I got 3 spoons. That's too many spoons to do anything with. That's why I can't mine any blocks. Because my hands are full of spoons. And the blocks are not made of cereal, so they're the wrong affinity. Swimming. There is Trident guy. Is that one? Ow. I failed to collect the trident from the Trident guy. Build round the wait, no. I've gotten distracted on where I'm heading. Sweet. Alright, I need to check my mail when I get home. Thanks, pufferfish. I was just trying to swim past. You didn't have to be that. It's fine, it's fine. Ooh, kelp. Oh. Arguably, that was even a good batch room to potentially get for getting the pufferfish. Could have done a pufferfish bucket. Not that I have anything that especially needs the pufferfish bucket. At least like the tropical fish bucket for like axolotls is like easy to refill in the biomes you're likely to find axolotls. But yeah. Unless he does another late stream like he did yesterday. Looks like probably not for Iskall, so next backlog YouTube video. Getting to watch pull up a video and it's like, what's the next video? This guy's cheating at poker. Quite effectively, and by that I mean Balatro. Technically he's doing modded Balatro. Because it's one of the ones where like it's not seeded, but like it's roughly seeded because it's like they call it filtering. It's I need this to happen in like the very first time any of the randomized things happen. And then is just starting runs from that kind of starting point. So it's going through like thousands, but only keeping one of them. Alright. Prismarine Shard for the circuit. There we go. Saddles. Flash. Like, glowstone at least shows up in the altar. And it might not end up as a compressible, but like, because I think it doesn't have the uncompressing recipe. But it's also a 2x2 compression. So if you don't set it as a void, you can just make the cheap compressor and like just compact it into the blocks until it stops making the blocks, and then it becomes the powder, and then you put a void with, and you tell it only void the powder going over a stack or whatever the stack count is. gunpowder redstone, bottles, empty bottles. And some of this is going based on what the drops are from Kagerium. I did not find my withered bone. Had I might have converted them into bone meal early. So that might be why I couldn't find them. For ease of use, I'm going to put the sugar here. Because it's a 50-50 on whether or not we want the sugar on that or someplace loose. Uh, um, okay. Plants. Plants. It still wants dead coral for the regular coral things. Which is like, really? We haven't moved past that when we adjusted them? Alright. Kelp me, kelp me. Right. I need to check my mail when I get back over there, so I should go and do that. Do I actually want to just, like, call it? Have today just be a shorter day with what I already have there? Because, like, we got a decent amount of storage there. I might want to lay down and set a timer for when I would be heading out, or closer to when I would be heading out. Fish. But if I'm going to do that, I should... I've slept recently, so... It's probably fine. Need to check my mail. I think. Ah, sent over some bamboo Yuki. It's not my mailbox that me checked. Okay. Yeah, you can tell how tired I was. The fact that it took me going back and rereading that to parse that's what was going on. But yeah, probably I should call it. I mean, I am just about at the 2 hour mark. That's a relatively reasonable one, especially for like not doing vault runs and just doing like some support stuff. Morning. What's on your docket this morning? Mind of chemo? Because I think that the one thing I definitely should do this morning is I stuck all my glowstone in here. There we go. Is rip out some storage chunks. Something, something. If it weren't for the block size requirement, this, I believe, is the lowest that a slime could spawn. F3, G. Block. And one of the things that had been limiting me from okay. Hopefully you have a relatively good day at work. Nothing unexpected or anything like that. Going to try and beat the heat here because I think it's 39 degrees Celsius to 40, like 39, 40 Celsius, so it's 98, 102 is our expected heat index today, so it's like, and my room is the one that gets like stupid hot in the entire house in spite of any kind of air conditioning or initial cooling. So okay, Head, why have you decided to start doing the ice pick trick again? So yeah, I probably should call it if my head is going to go, hey, you are going to have a migraine. It's like that started in the last like 2 minutes. So that's fun. Like, seriously, why brain? technically I can also building gadget to adjust like the floor and walls. I think that actually means I can pull all of these. How much andesite did I get? Not as much as I might want. All right. This goes here. This goes here. I'd come down here and immediately convert these to what you call it? Sophisticated versions. Gravel, regular gravel. And we'll take the stone. And then I think I'm probably going to wrap it. how am I level 0? I'm basically refusing to go into the vault until we get the combat update, which is currently Wednesday. So 2 more days, maybe 3, depending on when Wednesday. But I'm being stubborn, and I haven't stepped into a single vault. So any researches I have or anything that I have that's like that requires mod or other things is like these all got thrown at me from the other people, which and I got attached to researches for some other people, and somebody threw me 1 nether star, or 1 knowledge star, so I could get the sophisticated storage for doing the upgrades, and I will get the barrels later to help with the storage for Giki. But, like, given the fact that me and Giki are on Season 9, along with some of our other buddies that are also on here, we're a little bit fast and loose with, like, how much interaction we do with each other and how much it matters for us to keep the progression, because honestly, if we're here, we've done our time before, especially because I did the oh yeah, and actually we've determined, so this is something you might want to do, except for the fact you're not going to have any of the researches we already have right now from us. The one of the things they put in is the research team, and you get invited in and all that, and you share with it. But we've actually determined, and when it was first implemented, it always charged you 50% for every person beyond the first. So if you had 4 people on your research team, you were paying 250% of the knowledge stars to unlock, but you were unlocking it for 4 people. But we've actually noticed something. There's one of the things they put in was they put in a game rule that you could have, and apparently the official servers have made active the game rule research penalty false. So the team research penalty doesn't exist. So if, I don't know, you can do the researches entirely on your own, separate from everyone else, or you can do, I don't know, invite everyone on the server and just make sure you unlock everything. And that notes that even if you got behind some people, that is a completely solvable thing, even without using like the knowledge stars to go and buy each of the ones separately yourself, because you can go over here and make the knowledge brew. And by you can make it, I mean you can hand these materials to somebody else and ask them, pretty please, to get you the any researches you're behind on them, noting that then any researches you do after that are going to be at the normal category cost penalties, accounting for all the ones you have learned. So you can technically still end up with cheaper if you get really cheeky with how you unlock some of the more expensive categories by doing non-joined teams, because hey, big toys, it adds 12 for each one you have researched. So if you have 5 people, you could technically research all of these for their base cost, and then it costs what, 5 knowledge brews? Because fun uh, additional fun fact about the knowledge brews, unless they've patched this out since they put it in, it counts for the research team. So if you get a knowledge brew and you drink it while you're research teamed, everyone else in the research team gets it too. At least last we checked, which I'm going to be completely fair. The last time I checked on that was first iteration prestige season. So that would have been like update 18? 18 or 19, I think. So that was like 3 seasons back at this point. 4 seasons. At the time, Geeky, Crafty, Diana, and me were technically teamed the entire season. Diana wasn't online through the entire season. She got sidelined after day 1 by life and just never got back around to it. But she was technically attached to us when we were basing as a haunted mansion in one of the fancy modded terrain things for the fancy grass color. And that through the different hot fixes on that, there was a bug at one point that caused a chance of insured vault death generating vault spirits. So since we're running on a casual server, every one of our vaults is an insured vault. So we had a few hot fixes that or we had one hot fix or another that while we were on that one and we hadn't gotten the next one after that, we ended up with loose ghosts of people, which was great because we had actually decided that we were going to do a haunted mansion with a graveyard around it before we started accidentally spawning ghosts on a casual server. And like you don't ever cash in the ghosts because it technically is a dupe and it causes funky issues because you end up with the UUID up there, the unique one, duplicated for the bag you get out of it, and that can cause some funky issues if like one copy of it gets upgraded to a larger one by doing the sew it on to the other thing. Also, technically, it can be useful using the F3H for the extra texts there to before you like do your pouches or whatnot. Scroll over, get a snapshot of those UUIDs, because absolute worst case scenario, if you screw up your bag upgrading and you accidentally leave like your upgrades and other things in it, you can technically give them the UUID of whichever bag did not get the upgrade and got consumed as a material, and they can. It's a little bit complicated, but you can technically generate the block and have it have the specific UUID, and then you have the bag back. It's annoying for them to do, but they can do it. And it's a lot easier if they know which one they need. Anyways. My head started hurting a little while ago, and I don't have much else to do today. Noting that the other things I could do are things like select someplace underground underneath and make a enclosed space for the slime farm, or start working on someplace to put a iron farm somewhere near here, or something like that. But like, I've made a raid farm recently, and like level 0 raid farm is fun, to say the least, for vault hunters, because it suddenly changes the equation for these. Bonk. Make things get put away, put away, put away. Okay. We'll pull the dispensers out. Technically, I should pull those out. Sure, dispensers can end up here. Glowstone. Cool. But yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I spent at least a little while on, just to do it. Noting that I had to use this instead of scaffolding when I actually was doing the casting part of it. Because one of the idiots who made Forge got annoyed by the fact that scaffolding doesn't burn from things like lava being near it, and elected to that's not where I was trying to go. This is where I was trying to go. Elected to make it able to catch fire, because that's more accurate, since it's made of string and bamboo and all that. So clearly it would. Right. I just haven't pulled these out since I set that to gunpowder. Huh. That sounds annoying. I have managed to throw all of those back into the system instead of out of the system in a way that gets rid of them. So we are going to try that again. And by try that again, I mean we're going to throw them right there. Then I'm going to realize I need to turn on those upgrades. Then we're going to do that again. 7th time's the charm, right? And then that leaves me only those two that need to be despawned or whatever. Okay, fine. We'll do it the smart way. Void in it. Technically, I can take that out of it because we actually are trying to collect this at the moment. And by at the moment, I mean long term, actually. Something illegal. You're allowed to enchant piercing, but you're not supposed to be able to enchant multi-shot. But one of the wonderful things about raid farms and the like is they can drop the illegal enchants. It really does not matter most of the time because, like, you're going to use Javelin, like, within a couple of levels. But being able to do that into your level 0 vault, I mean, given the fact, like, your other high-power combat option is if you manage to get a drown to give you a trident early. But with how much earlier you can get into your first vault, usually it's not going to matter. I've had this since day one. I will get around to it at some point. But yeah. The raid farm is available for anyone to use that needs to use it. The big thing is you just need to kill one of the raid captains, which, if there isn't one down there, they should collect it each time. Just come over here, kill the raid captain, and get down there before 3/4 of the raid bar is done, and just like smack those. You'll want a sword, not an axe, from the vault stuff, so you can get the inherent sweeping edge. At some point, I should come back in here and add on an automated timer that you can flick on and then run like just as like a mage build with like Totem or Nova, while you just kind of smack the mobs. But honestly, given the fact this works, because this is Diamond Sword plus Sharpness and then some damage, because Netherite Sword is 8 or 9 and Sharpness adds a point, I believe, per, so a 15 damage sword is more than enough. The sweep is just low, but like you're sweeping the mobs that are up here by hitting the armor stands, and just try not to break the string. I've done that like 7 or 8 times. And technically, if something weird happens with these, I don't know how shocking or stunning or other things like that might affect armor stands. There's more in the container. But you just kind of hit once every 1.5 seconds or every 2 seconds or so, because that cycles those, which cycles that, which cycles this up, and moves the raids. So it works just fine. But it should be filtering. Like, it's not filtering quite as many emeralds as, like, the vanilla ones tend to, but that's because I wanted to get more than just the gunpowder and the redstone. I also wanted to get the glowstone. I don't have it set to spider's eyes or whatnot, but, like, I also might swap this whole thing out for some sophisticated storage things. Maybe with, like, the hopper upgrades, but that's once I start getting into the vaults. Give it a modded storage instead of literally the minimum capacity base one it had to start, or the vanilla actually uses. Noting that I could just rip out this and extend that down. That solves a lot of the issues. I will have to get a warp plate down at some point. They're adorable. Yep, it's ENXO Forest Farm, and, like, yeah. I absolutely copy it, and, like, every time something, I even, like, I wrote down a large amount of the steps, but not all of them separately, so at one point I even was, like, iterating it, while I was, while I was, building it. Huh. Oh. Okay. Oh. Is this a house? Okay, that is a house. I was like, surprisingly, huh? Why in the world would that matter? Like, this is just a regular village. Sure, it's about 200, but, like, that happens from time to time. For a moment there, I was trying to figure out whether or not that was a boat. Because if it ended up being a shipwreck at like 200, but, like, yeah, I do plan on making potentially more. I can store this on the back page now. Empty offhand, put something in your main hand, and you can use the warp stones without the research. Because I was offline when they first made the research group, so, like, I missed a couple of the unlocks. But as I showed, I can do the knowledge brew later and go, hey, okay, like, hand somebody 4 knowledge stars and 4 echo gems, and I can go, hey, can I get botany pots off you? And it's still going to be cheaper than me researching botany pots with no penalty. Plus, technically, it lets me be a little more cheeky, because They have the higher production penalty. I just have mob spawners from somebody getting mob spawners, which means right now, uh, for people attached to this, I'm the person that should be unlocking easy villagers or easy piglins or Kagirium. They've already got botany pots, so they don't need me to do that because it it is going to be 8 stars cheaper for me to unlock one of these for the group. But yeah. Anyways, I should probably wrap here. I don't have much else that really would help today, and like I said, my head decided it was going to start hurting and I should go and like lay down or figure out if it's like wanting food, not like I had breakfast not long ago, so like shouldn't be that. I've had a decent amount of water in the last little bit. Don't know why it decided that need to make my head hurt, but I'm going to say that 2.5 hours, noting that about 40 minutes of that was me getting distracted after I was getting ready to log off, is a decent amount of play for the day. But yeah, what was it? Right. One of the Guardian farms was one of the options. What do you mean I don't have a cave view of the ocean monument down here? Alright. I will catch all of you tomorrow. Bye.